Hey, it's Greg on here with MaritimeGardening.com. Just a quick little video. I was out in my garden and just harvesting a tiny little row of beans that I planted last spring. So I planted these, say, in May, and look how much I get out of here. This is a good, you know, it's a lot of beans, right? I'll pick these in about 5 or 10 minutes. This is just a single row of beans, about 5 feet long. That's all I planted. And I planted them in my walkway here on the Woodchips. So my point, why I'm sharing this with you, is number one, if you got a spare patch of earth, plant something in it. Right? You never know what'll happen. And the other point is that, you know, people are always saying pine needles are bad for the soil. The wood chips will acidify the soil. Blah 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 blah. I'm telling you this stuff. Here, I'm gonna grab a handful of it and show you. It's full of pine needles, right? Full of wood chips. I get these from an arborist. They're chipped up branches of trees, and most of the time, because it's what tends to grow here, they're pine trees, spruce trees, things of that nature, right? Evergreens. They tend to be evergreens. And you look anywhere here, all you see is pieces of wood and pine needles, or spruce needles, or fir needles, or tamarack needles, or etc., etc., etc. Now, do these plants look healthy to you? Do they look like the soil's too acidic? Right? I don't think so, right? So anyone that says that doesn't know what they're talking about. If you actually do some reading about this from, you know, the best source for me is different university agricultural extensions, University of Michigan Agricultural Extension, the University of Wisconsin Agricultural Extension, University of Oregon Agricultural Extension. There's really not, to my knowledge, a similar resource here in Canada. I really wish there was. I mean, we have an agricultural college here in Nova Scotia, but I don't know if they do the sort of public-facing type service that an agricultural extension of a university does. Because what they do is they write articles that are relatively short and relatively accessible. And I think as long as you got a high school education, you can probably make sense of them. You don't need a PhD to make use of the advice, right? And so if you read some of those articles, you'll find out that pine needles do not acidify the soil, right? Wood chips do not acidify the soil. If you till in wood chips, they will pull a lot of nitrogen out of the soil, at least temporarily, for a number of years, because wood chips need nitrogen to break down, and so they're going to get it out of your soil. So if you're going to just don't till them in. If you do till them in by accident or whatever, like let's say you use wood chips as a mulch over your potatoes, and you just by digging up the potatoes you end up working the wood chips into the soil, then you probably want to add some manure or something like that to sort of rebalance the lost nitrogen that resulted from that. But anyway, this seems to work, and I do experiments in other parts of my garden as well, where I've got I've got kale growing in one place, I got a couple other things growing in other places, and this year in particular I'm noticing that the plants that are growing under the wood chips in the walkways in the original soil, right? The original soil of this garden is just clay, clay and rock. It's not good stuff, and fairly acidic as well. So this is the first year I've been really mulching heavily here, mulching everything, all the walkways, since 2013 or 2014. I can't remember which. Let's say 2014, just to be conservative. It's probably 2013, but I can't recall. Anyway, this is the first year where I'm noticing that the soil underneath the walkways is starting to become fairly productive. I can plug almost, you know, I can move the wood chips back, and you notice the soil is black. Right here, I'll grab some. It's always moist. It's been an incredibly dry summer here in Nova Scotia, and this is wet. This is black earth type stuff, right? Anyway, I'm finding 4 years in, 5 years in, the soil underneath the wood chips is finally starting to get charged up and turn into something that you can grow things in. So I mean, I'll do more experiments, but I mean, it's not as good as, I mean, all my garden boxes is just, each box has about 4 or 5 wheelbarrows. Originally, when I originally built them, it's just like 4 or 5 wheelbarrowfuls of horse manure. And that's what got them kick-started, right? And I just add mulches every year, so I really didn't add much horse manure. Maybe a couple places I added horse manure this year, but for the most part, let's say 90% of my gardens here is just, I just mulched them last year, and that's all I'm going to do this year. I think the soil is got the right balance now, that all I got to do is add mulch to the top, and the things that are living in the soil will turn that mulch into good stuff. And you know, so I think it takes a number of years to get your soil healthy and so on. But I think I'm there. Anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. You know, if you got a spare patch of earth, plant something in it. And if you're trying to improve your soil using wood chips as a mulch, be patient. It might not happen in year 1 or year 2. It might take a little while for all the magic to happen, especially if you're somewhere in the north where, you know, really that whole composting breakdown thing, it shuts down for, you know, 5 or 6 or more, depending on how cold it gets where you are. For almost half the year, that whole thing is just shut down. It's too cold for anything to happen. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. Just a bit of a rambling video, but I just had some ideas I wanted to share. If you did find that useful, please like, share, subscribe. Check out my podcast, maritimegardening.com. Until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden.